Okay. Hey, folks, this is Pastor Sherman, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today. Really short thing that I want to get out there is that we've been watching over the last week or so about how Israel has been in a dogfight with Iran over their nuclear ambitions, and now the folks in Iran have been, just kind of saber rattling. Well, all of a sudden, America decides to get in the deal in the conflict, and even though the president said, "Hey, I give you 2 weeks. I give everybody 2 weeks to calm down," Iran come to the table, and Iran has said, well, we're not going to come to the table unless all the hostilities stop. And then 2 days later, they get bombed with some bunker busting bombs, and what the Israelis and the Americans have done is they've targeted the nuclear plants for Iran. So all that being said, my main thing is really not focused so much on that. My main thing is focused upon the Christians and the Jews that are still in Iran. You see, before Iran was, overtaken by this radicalized Islamic cleric and all of his ilk, it was a country that was pretty friendly to Israel. As a matter of fact, from what I've read, the folks in Iran and Israel worked together, and Iran produced some of the oil for Israel. So it was a great relationship. It was when the Islamists came in, and this radical form of Islam came in and started really saying that they're going to kill Israel and by extension the United States. That's when things change. Well, you still have a group of people in Iran right now, and especially the Christian population, who are believers in the Lord, and they need our prayers, you guys. That's my biggest thing. It's really, if I have any other takeaway from this whole thing today, is that that you have a group of Christians that are still in Iran. As a matter of fact, it was getting to the point where they were closing up the mosques in Iran because you were having so many Christians, and you couldn't find anybody to go and hang out at the mosques. And that's a great thing, isn't it? Our President Trump said something very interesting recently, and he said that if they wanted to change the regime in Iran, wouldn't be such a bad idea. And wouldn't it be just like God to do that? So you remember the book of Esther, and where Esther came to the King Cyrus, and said, "Hey, my uncle, my kinsman Mordecai came to me and said, hey, there's a move afoot to try to destroy all the Jews." And the king said, well, who did this? And it was Haman, and he had gotten with all these rulers all throughout the realm, and was going to destroy the entire Hebrew population. And Esther went to the king and said, "King, you know what? That includes me." And the king prevailed, and he said, "No, whatever we've got to do to stop this, we're going to stop it." And in that one moment, they were able to save the entire Hebrew nation. So I want you to get this. Some of you may not realize this. Ancient Persia is today's Iran. Ancient King Cyrus lived in the same place where we see now Iran right now. This is very prophetic. Could there be a Cyrus right now in Persia, in Iran, that will replace the Muslim cleric that is there right now? Because he's getting ready to leave. He's saying, "Hey, guess what? I'm not staying around." He's 80 years old, and he understands that when President Trump says you've got a couple of weeks to mull this over, it might be tomorrow. Okay? He knows President Trump is not going to sit there and wait for a couple of weeks for him to make his decision up. Could there be another Cyrus that is there to say, "You know what, guys, we're going to end this"? Because, see, Iran is not the good guy in this situation. I shouldn't say that Iran is not the good guy. I should say the leadership in Iran, some of the people that are aligning themselves in the power base in Iran, they're the problem. There are so many great people in Iran, especially the Christian population. There's some Jews that are there right now. But when these folks overthrew the Shah back in 1979, and they brought in their brand of Islam, they went crazy. It's not as though they were, any better much earlier than that. But be that as it may, when they came in, they lost everybody. Even, it's bad when you've lost Saudi Arabia, you've lost Qatar, you've lost all these other nations that are close to you, who are very close to you. But see, they don't consider themselves Arabs. They consider themselves Shia. And they say, hey, look, you guys are a bunch of Sunnis and everything else. So they're fighting against it. Brothers, sisters, we need to pray. We need to pray for Iran. We need to pray for the next leader of Iran. We need to pray for the Christians and the Jews that are in Iran, that they would not be fearful, but they would actually pray also, that they would get together in those home churches and really seek God to see what God can do in this. And this is going to be a great opportunity that we're going to see God move in such a mighty way. Amen? Amen.